As Jin's tour van moved through the dusky streets of Chiba that night, a wave of speculation surged across time zones. The moment had already been clipped, subtitled, reposted, dissected, and translated into a dozen languages. Jungkook's words, "I'm in Japan with him," echoed louder than any planned announcement could. Fans leaned in, not just curious, but almost desperate to know. Was this spontaneous support or a calculated first step in BTS's grand return to the global stage? The cameras didn't catch everything. Not his subtle nod toward the soundboard before walking backstage. Not the lingering hug between him and Jin behind the curtain. But one thing became clear. Something intimate and strategic was unfolding in real time. Some called it brotherhood. Others saw it as the soft return of the golden maknae into the concert spotlight. Either way, something had shifted. Hours later, fan accounts reported seeing Jungkook leave the venue not with the crowd, but with Jin's team. He wasn't just visiting. He was involved. Not only did he sit in on Jin's sound check earlier that day, recorded quietly by a Japanese crew working backstage, he reportedly hummed along to a new melody that has yet to appear on any official set list. One tech assistant, speaking under anonymity, claimed Jungkook asked to use the in-ear monitor system for a brief test. He sang something soft, they recalled. It wasn't a Jin song. It felt like something new. Speculation turned to wildfire when Korean entertainment outlets picked up the chatter. Was Jungkook planning a new single, launched as a surprise stage moment during the tour? Or was it something deeper, a feature, or even the first glimpse of an OT7 subunit reunion on stage, however informal? Back in Seoul, HYBE remained silent, but insiders noticed subtle movements. Social media accounts were unusually quiet. Several staff members known to manage both Jin and Jungkook's schedules were spotted flying to Osaka ahead of schedule. Coincidence? Perhaps. But in K-pop, coincidence is often a breadcrumb trail. And fans? They follow every crumb like it leads to gold. In the fandom's digital corners, theories built like cathedrals. Some believed Jin and Jungkook would re-record Stay as a special encore moment. Others swore they saw lyrics to a new track called By Your Side in a glimpse of a handwritten notepad Jungkook was holding, possibly a duet they composed during enlistment breaks. The internet held its breath. Days passed, and then came the Osaka sound check. This time, barriers were tighter, cameras scarcer, but audio leaked. A low, velvety harmony slid through the stadium walls. Jungkook's unmistakable voice paired with Jin's. Fans gasped. The harmony wasn't just background, it was call and response. Two distinct lines blending like a practice performance. And yet, it wasn't any known song. Journalists began arriving en masse. Ticket resale prices tripled overnight. What had initially been Jin's solo moment had evolved into a mystery drama with Jungkook as the second lead. As anticipation peaked, Japan's most prominent entertainment news outlet broke the story. Jungkook had filed a special one-time performance permit with local authorities for Osaka Dome. The purpose? Special musical appearance in collaboration with Kim Seokjin. There it was. Not rumor, not speculation, documentation. The next night, the stage lights dimmed exactly the same as they had in Chiba. Jin began his ballad, this time Abyss, trembling with emotion. And just when fans thought the song was over, a second mic lifted from the center of the stage. Jungkook walked out, not in glitter, not in showy costume, but in a simple black shirt, like he just stepped out of rehearsal. He didn't speak. He sang. Their voices, fused in that moment, did more than fill the arena. It closed a gap fans had carried in their hearts for 2 years. It wasn't just a song. It was proof. Proof of their bond, their return, their quiet promise to rebuild, note by note. Jin, ever stoic, shed a tear. Jungkook smiled but kept singing, grounding the performance with his steady tone. When it ended, the two embraced silently. No speeches, no hashtags, just truth. After the show, social media detonated. Global trends exploded with keywords. OT2 reunion, Jungkook live, he's back, that hug. Videos looped endlessly. Even non-fans couldn't ignore the headlines. BTS members shock fans with surprise reunion in Japan. It wasn't overblown. It was history. Then came the twist that no one saw coming. A teaser, aired on Japanese television hours after the concert. show blurred silhouettes of all 7 BTS members in a dance studio. The words Spring 2026, The Return Begins flashed on screen. Was this what Jungkook's call had sparked? Was the Osaka performance a prelude? In hindsight, it all makes sense. Jungkook doesn't move without intention. Jin doesn't cry easily. BTS doesn't tease unless something bigger is coming. Together, they reminded the world that beyond the music, beyond the fame, beyond even the military, there's a rhythm they share no matter where they are. So now the question isn't just what Jungkook did after Jin's show, it's what he set in motion. What if that one whispered call backstage becomes the first domino in the greatest comeback K-pop has ever seen? What if this wasn't the ending of solo chapters, but the preface to their most powerful collective story? And now, with eyes locked on the next tour date, fans dare to hope louder than ever. Will the others appear too? Will RM rap live on Jin's final show? Will V dance again next to Jimin? Will J-Hope bring his full energy to the stage where it all began? Will Suga return, healed and blazing with music? The stage is set. The silence is trembling. And Jungkook already answered the first question. He didn't just show up. He came back. The final moments of the Osaka performance weren't just loud, they were seismic. As Jen and Jungkook stood center stage, the lights behind them dimmed one by one, a symbolic rewind through the years they'd spent apart. And then in total silence, a phrase appeared on the massive LED screen behind them. You waited. So did we. The crowd froze. Some screamed. Others stood in stunned silence, but all of them felt it. This wasn't the end of a concert. It was the beginning of something far greater. In the days that followed, entertainment reporters scrambled for confirmation. Hybe remained tight-lipped, issuing only a cryptic 2-sentence statement. The members of BTS continue to support each other's individual and collective paths. Please look forward to more surprises on the tour. But the fandom didn't need confirmation. They saw what mattered: chemistry, presence, and intention. For them, actions had always spoken louder than press releases. As flights left Osaka, fan forums became digital headquarters of investigation. They noticed strange flight patterns. Jimin flying solo to London, RM photographed in LAX, who will be seen entering a dance studio in Seoul. Each sighting sparked speculation. Was Jin's solo tour evolving into a rotating reunion stage? And most critically, would the tour's final show in London feature all 7? There's no overhyping the emotional gravity of that question. For 2 years, fans clung to solo releases, live streams from base camps, and fleeting birthday messages. And now, in real time, they were watching their idols reunite, not for variety shows or talk interviews, but through music, the very foundation of their journey. Each step Jungkook took alongside Jin wasn't just support, it was a declaration that BTS was finding its rhythm again. Behind closed doors, industry professionals were already whispering about logistics. An unnamed Hybe executive reportedly told a Korean magazine that London's venue had been requested to install an extended trapdoor stage, typically reserved for multi-member performances with choreography transitions. Why would a solo tour need that? The answer seemed obvious. Meanwhile, Western media caught on. Rolling Stone ran a headline: Jungkook and Jin might have just kicked off the biggest K-pop comeback in history. Time magazine followed with a special BTS digital cover, a silhouetted photo of 7 shadows, and the caption, "Are they coming back?" But perhaps the most emotional moment arrived unexpectedly in a 13-second clip on Weverse. Uploaded without caption, it showed Jin and Jungkook in a hotel hallway, still in stage clothes. Jin pulled Jungkook into a side hug, their foreheads briefly touching. Then Jin laughed, slightly teary-eyed, and whispered, "It's just like old times, huh?" Jungkook nodded, adding, "Even better." That clip alone received over 3.5 million likes within the first hour. Beyond the emotional magnitude, fans began noticing subtle clues in the performances themselves. In Chiba, Jin had ended with Epiphany. In Osaka, with Abyss. Both songs speak to vulnerability, longing, and self-realization. But each encore began with something new. An instrumental track never released before, heavy with strings, ending with the soft echo of laughter. Fans began calling it the reunion prelude. Some believed it was a new BTS track, unreleased, written during enlistment. Others thought it was a transitional score linking Jin's solo identity with the collective essence of BTS. And then came the thunderbolt. On the morning of July 17th, a new teaser dropped on all HYBE channels. Black screen, footsteps, a single heartbeat. Then a voice. RM speaking slowly in Korean. Sometimes we leave to return stronger. Together. Always. Then, BTS. Spring 2026. No details, no faces, just that phrase and the promise it carried. Fans lost it. Theories exploded like fireworks. Was this a reunion album? A full documentary of their enlistment years? A new era altogether? Speculation ran wild. But one thing was certain. The fuse had been lit in Chiba, sparked in Osaka, and now it was racing toward an inevitable explosion of global proportions. But as much as this saga is about planning and production, it's really about something deeper, human connection. Fans cried not because of a duet, but because of what that duet meant. For a generation that grew up with BTS, that endured the pandemic with them, that waited through silence and service, this was more than a comeback. It was a homecoming. And no moment captured that more than what happened backstage in Osaka, reportedly witnessed by one staff member who later described it anonymously online. Jungkook stood by the corridor, watching Jin from a distance. When Jin came off stage, Jungkook didn't say anything at first. He just opened his arms. Jin didn't hesitate. He walked straight into them. No words, just years of trust. That kind of bond doesn't fade. It deepens. So what comes next? London, August 10, the final day of Jin's solo tour. Rumors say all members have cleared schedules, that backup dancers were booked last minute, that military schedules were flexed for a reason. Some say London will host an OT7 encore, one song only, one moment, unannounced. Others think it will simply be Jungkook again, perhaps with another surprise. Either way, the world will be watching. Because at this point, it's not about whether BTS is returning. It's about how. And as fans across the globe prepare their light sticks and hearts, one thing is clear. The magic hasn't faded. It's evolved. It's matured. It's quiet, powerful, and waiting behind the curtain. Just like Jungkook was right before he stepped on stage with Jin in Japan and reminded the world that some stories aren't over. As the sun rose over Seoul on July 18th, the city hummed with an undercurrent of anticipation. While much of the world was just waking to the echoes of what had happened in Osaka, South Korea was already alive with analysis. Morning talk shows aired frame-by-frame breakdowns of the Jin-Jungkook hug. Music programs looped their duet performance over emotional piano instrumentals. Veteran idols tweeted cryptic praise. Even government officials, often quiet about pop culture, shared vague congratulatory posts. What began as a surprise appearance was now an undeniable cultural event. Yet, while media and fans swirled in excitement, a different kind of preparation was unfolding behind closed doors. Sources close to BTS's inner circle revealed that rehearsals had quietly resumed at HYBE's underground studio in Yongsan. Guards were tripled. Delivery schedules were moved to midnight. Dancers were required to sign non-disclosure agreements. Something was brewing, and it wasn't just an encore stage. By July 20th, more pieces fell into place. Park Jimin was spotted at Gimpo Airport boarding a private jet to London. Minutes later, Taehyung posted an Instagram story of a cloudy sky, tagged simply, "Next stop, clarity." Fans knew what that meant. J-Hope, already known to be preparing for his own post-military comeback, was photographed leaving a recording studio with none other than producer P-Dog, the man behind some of BTS's most legendary tracks. And then it happened. At 11:11 p.m. KST, a new teaser dropped, not on YouTube, not on Weavers, but as a pop-up notification on the BTS mobile app, long dormant. The video was only 21 seconds. It showed a long hallway, dimly lit. One by one, shadows stepped into frame, backs turned, walking forward into the light. The final figure paused, turned slightly, and though blurred, fans knew it was Jin. Over the final frame, a phrase appeared, etched in silver. One more stage, one more song, one more time. London, August 10th. No hashtags, no branding, just raw cinematic mystery. The fandom erupted. Some screamed, some cried. Some simply stared, breathless. Within minutes, One More Time trended #1 worldwide. Fans started counting down not to the concert, but to the moment they were now all waiting for. The potential, the unspoken hope, the unconfirmed but everyone knew truth, an OT7 moment. For the first time since their group hiatus announcement in 2022, for the first time since military service split their timeline, for the first time in over 3 years, they might all be on one stage again. No green screens, no pre-recorded segments, no solo filters, all 7 together, singing, living, breathing. And here's where it gets deeper. You see, for BTS, reunion is never just reunion. It's storytelling. Everything they do follows narrative logic. Every beat carefully chosen, every lyric placed like poetry. Jungkook's call after Jin's Chiba performance wasn't just excitement. It was the first line of the story. Jin's tears in Osaka, the second.